So, who said so? I said so. So, this morning when I woke up, I had an email from Rick Tamlin. And it was an email he sent out to a lot of people. It wasn't just to me, although in my head it was. And the email said, when was the last time you did something for the first time? I mean, you've been asked that before, right? When was the last time you did something for the first time? Well, it just so happens that this morning, and I laughed, I was like, that'll be in about 2 hours from now. It just so happens that this morning, I got to stand before the Westlake Village Center for Spiritual Living as their new spiritual director. So it was the first time I was going to address them from my own stage, because now it's my stage. So it was so awesome to step into that and to have that happening. And as it turns out, Barbara picked this song. We always pick the music about a month in advance, and we choose how we're going to support Consciously Creative or whatever the theme is. You all remember the theme for this year, don't you?
Step it up.
Very good. What? Step it up. Stepping it up. Everybody say that. Stepping it up. In every area of your life. That's our theme for the year, to be stepping it up. When we picked that theme, I had no idea that I would then take on a whole nother center in order to literally step it up in my own life. And with his teaching. So Barbara picked this song 4 weeks ago. And I said to her yesterday, I said, oh my God, the song you picked is so perfect for the first day in Westlake. It's so perfect for this theme. And she went, that's why I chose it. I said, but they didn't even vote me in until a week ago. She went, oh, honey. That's exactly how she said it, too. She was like, oh, honey. She said, I knew the minute you spoke there where we were going. So universe always knows what it's doing. Even if it's not you, it's knowing it through. That's something to really think about, that the universe always knows what it's doing, no matter what. Even if you're locked out of meditation. Marilee was locked out of meditation. She was like, I rushed here for meditation. I was like, wow, and that you do not seem in a meditative state at this point. So, but the universe knew what it was doing because you taught Paul Keith how to do hip hop out there waiting. So Paul benefited. It's going to help him well when he goes to all those clubs in West Hollywood. So I want to start with the lyrics of this song. It says, is this the end or only the beginning? Now, I know that seems very obvious. Is it the end or the beginning? But, you know, this morning I got to reference this to the Westlake Village taking a whole new chapter with me as their spiritual director. You've had me for 15 years. So this isn't an end or a beginning. But what I turned it around in this morning, and what I want to talk about tonight, is really the message of this for me. We have to ask ourselves this every single day. Is this the end or the beginning? Do I think I'm reaching the end of something? Do I even think that there's an end I want to get to? Or am I going to live every day of my life as a new beginning? Am I going to wake up every day and say, it's a new day, I cannot wait to live it? How many of you start your day like that? Suzanne Wong clearly starts her day like that. I totally get it. Is this a new day, or is it everything I think I'm going to have to do today? That's very important. So is this the end or only the beginning? The second chance you never thought you'd get. Now, I want to talk about that because there are people, I know none of them are in this room, but there are people, and if you are, you know, just let it affect you however it affects you. But there are people that drag their past into their present. Nobody here, right? No. Yeah, she's like, I do. So there are people that drag the past into the present, even though Raymond Charles Barker said that yesterday ended last night. One of my favorite quotes. Yesterday ended last night. It is up to us not to throw out all of that stuff. You can't throw that out. That's the story of your life. If you're going to tell the story of your life, you're probably going to start, I was born, wherever you were born. And then you're going to talk about your childhood travails. And then you're going to talk about, you know, what's that called? Grammar school. Then you're going to talk about middle school. Then you're going to talk about high school. Then you're going to talk about how you hate school. Then you're going to talk about college. Then if you went to college. And then you're going to tell the story of your life. All of this matters. And I so loved what Reverend Karen talked about. That is such a, it's in my talk. And as she was talking, I was like, wow, that's exactly what I'm going to say. So I'm going to have to say this differently. But I don't. I'm just going to repeat what she said. So I'll have what she's having. So too often we try to denigrate all of this stuff and not realize. And you know what's funny? I watch Reverend Karen up here talking. And I think about myself and Dr. David Walker, who was my teacher. Karen and I have a very different relationship than I had with Dr. David Walker in some respects. In other respects, we're very much like that. But Dr. David used to say to me, you cannot do the entertainment industry and ministry. Pick one. And I would say back to him, no. And that was our relationship. And that went on and on until I finally opened my ministry in a theater. And he was like, this is going to be the downfall of you. This is going to be impossible for you to maintain a theater company and a church. And I said, wrong. And so we created, where's Caressa? Right here, yeah, the theater company. That theater company. I think David just channeled himself through you. So we created a theater company and a ministry and did it all. Produced Broadway shows, did it all at the same time. Because I understood it was really about enlightenment through entertainment. How better can we learn than by being entertained somehow? Than by being inspired in whatever, scripted or unscripted. Because let's face it, all scripted started out as unscripted. Someone just made a decision to script it. Now here's the problem. A lot of people try to script your life for you. I don't even have to say, right? So they do. They have ideas for you, and they don't mean it in a bad way. Dr. Walker never meant to hold me down at all. This was my mentor. I love him. Still love him. But he didn't see how that could happen because he left a very wonderful career as a Vegas lounge singer to become a minister and almost never sang again because he didn't believe you could do those two things. But I did. So what I'm really here to talk about today in the terms of the story of your life and this whole idea of second chances, we have a chance right now, tonight, to take a look at anything in our life that we seem to have given up on or decided it's not going to work or decided I missed that chance to say, Let's all say that together. I just wanted to hear what that sounded like. Right? To say, I can do whatever I've chosen to do. You know, someone said to me recently, do you ever see yourself back on Broadway? I went, yes, not today. Someday, I don't know. I could be like Lillian Gish at 90, showing up back on Broadway, and they're going, God, whatever happened to him? He's been being a minister. So what is it for you? What's in your life that you maybe gave up on that you would love a second chance? And here's the other thing. Who do you think is going to give you the second chance? How many of you are still waiting for someone else to give you a second chance? For some agent, for an actor, to give you a second chance. For some director or producer to find you on Vine Street sitting at a soda fountain thing. That doesn't happen so much anymore. No, now you have to do a video that goes viral, right, Suzanne? So there's nobody going to give you a second chance. Your second chance is self-driven. You just have to decide there's no such thing as a second chance. There's only now. The chance I have right now to do what I say is mine to do. The question is, will you do something with it? This is the story of your life. You decide how the rest is going to read. So, I taught the class, the 10-week class for the consciousness of success, right? And when we get into class, one of the first things I tell everybody is, please pick something that you're going to succeed at in the next 10 weeks. What are you going to succeed at in the next 10 weeks? And then, I don't know, maybe it was Reverend Sharon that said to me, because she was facilitating the class with me, who said, well, what are you going to do? But someone literally called me onto the floor. How dare they? And they called me and said, well, we're all picking ours. What are you going to do? And so I, just flippantly off the top of my head, I said, I'm going to finish the play I've been writing for 10 years in 10 weeks. Now, the truth is, I have not finished it yet, but the better truth is I have 3/4 of it done and I am on a roll, and I have started to write it. So this whole idea about the story of your life, how the rest is going to read. Let me tell you what happens when you are scripting something. Because every single one of us is living a scripted life. We are. None of us are really living a reality TV series. We are not living unscripted. Because to live unscripted means you're not actually deciding. Because any moment you make the choice, you've just scripted your life in some way. Karen scripted her life when she said, I'm going to ministerial school. And then she spent 2 years trying to unscript that. And then realized, nope, this is it. This is good for me. So every time you make a switch, you're scripting your life in another direction. Y'all get that, right? So I'm writing this play, and all of a sudden, out of the blue, I needed something in the play. So I created a new character. And I write the character in, and then the character has a life of its own, and the script, the entire story went like this. And it's like, what I was writing went, oh no, write this. And so I did. And it kept going and going and going, and the characters were changing, and I'm scripting the hell out of it. And it's taking me on the ride of my life, but I'm making the decisions. Please understand that. Yes, the universe is scripting me. Yes, the universe is moving through me and writing my life as I go, but I'm the one that says yes to it. I'm the one that says, take me. I'm willing. Because I could stop and just say, no, I'm not doing that. That's a dumb idea. I had this in mind. How many of you get into that mode? I have this in mind. And the universe is going, no! But you're like, no, I'm going to do this. So I write this. So the other day I'm at my kitchen counter, and I'm reading. I decided I needed to read this little piece of my play. And I'm reading the whole thing, and I ended up reading the whole play through to like page 40 or something. And I'm sitting there at the counter, standing at the counter reading, and I am sobbing and laughing, and I'm like, oh my God, it's so good. And Kevin's at the other end of the counter, and he looks up and he goes, what are you reading? I said, I'm reading my play. He went, oh. And he was like, is it really that good? I said, well, why don't we wait for you to read it? You'll tell me whether it's that good. And then I heard myself say that, and I went, yes, it's that good. That's what we have to be willing to say. That the script you're writing for your life is that good. Live it, or own it, stand in it. Say, yes, this is the choice I'm making. And guess what? You can take your life here. And then if it's not what you want, take it back. Just move it back over. You can decide whatever you want to decide. That's what this song is all about. Here's the story. You decide, I love this line, what kind of legacy you live. What kind of legacy you leave. Now, it's interesting because the Westlake Church has a very long legacy of ministers that come before me. So the idea of legacy there made great sense to go into, but I didn't, because I don't care about a legacy. I really don't. And here's the quote. You are not here to leave a legacy, but a legacy will be left. I'll say it again just for those of you that didn't get it. You are not here to leave a legacy, but a legacy will be left. If you are trying to leave a legacy, you are working this backwards, folks. If you're trying to accomplish something specific that I know this is the impact I want to have, you are going backwards. And I know there's a lot of books and a lot of teachers out there that will tell you, no, you got to know what you're doing. And it probably does work, but I'm not sure it leads a life that's so fulfilling and happy. I think it's a bit stressful because I've tried to leave that legacy. I've tried to do that kind of thing where I leave my greatness, I leave my mark somewhere. My footprint has to be big. And it's exhausting. Anybody? It's exhausting. So, but whatever legacy you do leave, whatever you do with your life will end up being some kind of legacy. If you died today in a very peaceful, easy, beautiful way, just because it was time, if you passed off of this mortal coil today, Bonnie, what legacy would you leave? Think about it for a minute. What legacy would you leave if this was your last day? Does it matter? Really? Does it matter how many people show up at your memorial service? Does it matter what I say for you when we're celebrating your life? Not really. All that matters is that you actually lived that life to that moment. What's your footprint been so far in this world? Because here's the thing, you're really not here to do great things. You're here to live a great life. And that is not the same thing. Ernest Holmes, when he created this teaching, he basically said, I'm not here to create a new religion. I'm not here to create some big, monumental honor to myself at all. He said, I just want to take everything that's come before me and give it just a little more oomph, a little more light, a little more clarity, a little more focus. I'd like to take what Jesus said and actually use it to live my life by. That it is done unto me as I believe. And that the Father and I are one. And that greater things will I do when I tap into that within me that is the soul and source of everything I do. That's all he came to do. So he left a great footprint. And there's an amazing legacy for that man. But he was very clear, it's not what I'm here to do. It just happens to be when I live my greatness, this is what's going on. That's what we can all do. When we tap in and live our greatness on demand, when we live our truth, when we really live the passion we have to live life, great things happen. When we try to make great things happen, now we're getting caught up in that willpower thing, as opposed to just allowing something to come through. So, if you died today, would you have lived your greatest life? If you died today, would you have lived your greatest life? Would you have been, now here's this stool here with 4 legs on it. The 4 legs of your life are health, wealth, creative expression, and relationships. Those 4 legs keep a table or a chair or whatever very sturdy. If you died today, would your legs be sturdy enough to hold you? Would you have been happy as can be over here in the world of prosperity? Would you have had vibrant, amazing health? Would your relationships all be in perfect repose to one another? And would your creativity, would your creative expression have been used up? Would you just have used every ounce of your creative expression? That's what we get to ask ourselves today. God, greatness on demand. So you are here to be consciously creative. That's what we're here to do. So we get a whole month now to start getting that I'm going to create my life consciously, on purpose. I'm going to actively choose to be conscious when I decide to do this, conscious when I decide to do that. And as my husband always says, be just as conscious with the things you decide not to do. What shouldn't take your time up? What shouldn't get your energy? So Thomas Troward said that our only purpose in life is to enjoy life. Enjoy life. To be in the joy of life. So that really means your only purpose in life is to be happy. So are you happy? And that's for you to ask yourself. Are you happy? Bless you, in every area of your life, are you happy? And here's the thing, and this is what's going to take you some work this month. You need to ask yourself in every area of your life if you are happy. And if the answer is no, there's another decision to be made. Because as Raymond Charles Barker says, you get to decide to be happy. You get to decide to be rich. You get to decide to be... What if life was really that simple? What if all it took for you to be as happy as you could have ever imagined was for you to make a decision to be happy? Because guess what? That's actually the formula. Make a decision to be happy. But what that includes is saying no to those things that don't make you happy. One of the things I do a lot of is marriage counseling. And I work with a lot of couples, gay, straight, lesbian, tons of couples. And they mostly come to me because something's not working. They're mostly coming to me because they're not happy in that relationship. And my method is to take them together and say, tell me what you both want out of this. They tell me all the time, what we want is we want to make this work. And then one of them, or sometimes both of them, will tell me, I'm actually not in love anymore and I'm not happy. That's when I have them separately. Because I do what do you both want? Then I listen to them separately. Then I bring them back together. And I say, all is required here is for you to be honest with one another and tell each other what's going on. That moment of stepping over the hurdle of being afraid to hurt someone's feelings, being afraid to end a marriage, end a relationship, 9 out of 10 times, it happens in that first session right in front of me. And then the rest of the sessions are all about how do we now do this? And I got to tell you, most of these couples have stayed friends because of it. And I use that expression because what I want you to understand is that it's one of the hardest things to do. They say divorce is one of the most stressful things in life. That and moving. Try moving as you're getting a divorce. That should be a lot of fun. So I bring this up for this reason. As hard as that is, what are you really doing in that moment? You are saying no to living one more day in an inauthentic relationship to yourself, not the other person. That's what I want to offer you for this month. I want to offer you an opportunity to divorce yourself from anything in your life that doesn't make you happy. To be consciously creating every aspect of your life. To say to yourself, this no longer serves me. But what you then have to understand is, and this does. So I will say yes to this, and I will say no to this, and always bevel your foot as you do it. Just makes it a lot simpler. So that's your job this month. Simple. That's your job. To live a consciously creative life of being happy. What a great month we are going to have if we decide tonight to be happy. To be happy in a way that we honor the truth of who we are. To be happy in a way that we honor the life that we have to live. So much life is in this room. I look out and I know almost every single one of you. And I know how much you have to offer. Some of you I have seen starring in Broadway shows. Some of you I have seen give Ovation award-winning performances. Some of you I have just watched grow from an idea to, oh my God, I understand this, I'm living this. It is time for us to step it up. Every single month, we have an opportunity to step it up in another way. This month, we have an opportunity to step up the happiness. You know what else you have to stop doing? Complaining. Any complainers here? We need to talk. So you can't be kvetching, that's a Jewish word for complaining. You can't kvetch and say, I want to be happy. You can't. It doesn't work like that. You've got to be happy. You've got to decide to be happy. That means you're deciding to not be unhappy. Yes? Yes. So I want you to take a deep breath. Just close your eyes. And here's what I'm going to know. In this brilliant world of unlimited, pure potentiality, infinite possibility, in this understanding that I am that infinite possibility and pure potentiality, I know that right here in this moment, I decide to be as happy as I have ever been or could ever be, and then beyond that. I decide in this moment for myself and every single person in this room, online, or whoever watches this, that each one of us taps into that authentic truth within us, a truth that not only knows who each one of us is, but who lives that truth through us. And right here and right now, I release everything that could ever possibly stand in the way of my happiness. And I know that for me, and I know that for each and every one of us. And I am so grateful to know this, so grateful to be a part of this community that steps into this style of open consciousness, being on purpose, as purpose itself. And I call it done, and I call it good, and I call it completely realized for each and every one of us. This is what I know. I am grateful to know this. I step out of the way and just bring it on, as together we all say, and so it is. There you go, a whole month of being happy. Namaste.